Hello there, my fellow cinephiles. Cinemama is back again this week with a fresh retrospective film review. I remember having watched this film way back in 12 when my acumen for films hadn't yet matured, but having stumbled upon this film again only a week back, I couldn't resist reviewing it for you all. This absolutely stunning film is Nicholas Winding Refn directorial, starring Ryan Gosling, Carey Mulligan, Bryan Cranston, and Oscar Isaac. Today, Cinemama reviews for you Drive. The film is set off in a rapid motion with a mysterious driver played by Ryan Gosling wearing a white jacket with a scorpion embroidered on the back, setting ground rules before becoming a part of a money heist. Later in the film, we discover that the driver, played by Ryan Gosling, is a car mechanic and a stunt driver by the day, and a getaway driver at night for people executing criminal activities, reason being his impeccable driving skills and knowledge of way outs from each street in Los Angeles. The driver, who has a shady background and zero trail of his past behind him, lives in an apartment with his house next to Irene's, played by Carey Mulligan. Romance starts flaring up from the moment driver rides Irene and her son Benicio back home and later repairs her car when she brings it to the garage owned by Shannon, played by Bryan Cranston, at whose garage driver happens to work since a long time now. The rosy romance between driver and Irene comes to a halt when Irene's husband, Standard Gabriel, played by Oscar Isaac, is released from jail and he comes home. One day, a disheartened driver who saw a new, decent life for himself in Irene and her son Benicio finds Standard beaten brutally by mob gangsters driver seems to know. Standard explains to the driver that some very powerful mob gangsters, Ron Perlman and Albert Brooks, want Standard to do one of their job in exchange of the protection money that Standard is unable to pay them. Realizing that Standard's inability to do job will lead to mob gangsters hurting Irene and Benicio next time they come down to Standard's place asking for money, driver decides, without letting Irene know, to help Standard by accompanying him to the job to be done, along with Blanche, a mob gangster's girlfriend played by Christina Hendricks. Entire deal goes horribly wrong, and now Driver is at the epicenter of a bloody mess that happens on multiple levels. What ensues is an unapologetically graphic carnage straight out of a hardcore mob film in the most visually stunning manner and in the most unpredictable sequencing of the plot events signature to Nicholas's films. The rest of the film is entirely about how the driver gets Standard's family safely out of the mess that has been created while making sure that none of them are hurt. Drive is a masterpiece on so many fronts and yet underrated due to a good number of filmgoers mistakenly choosing to compare it with Layer Cake and thinking that Drive aspires to reach the levels that Layer Cake did. No, Drive is so much more than a mob film with the protagonist having shady past and a mob deal gone wrong. Drive is a visual poem, a subtle play of 1,000 emotions painted on a blank canvas that is portrayed by the driver. All the instances in the film which have Carey Mulligan and Ryan Gosling have long pauses between them before any of them speaks, that to only few words at a go throughout the film. It's amusing to watch how most of the dialogues in the film are mouthed by Bryan Cranston and Albert Brooks. It's almost like you're watching two different films merged at regular intervals, where one deals with a mob deal gone wrong and another with powerful yet silent love story. The scorpion on the back of Driver's jacket has a very specific, powerful relation to the story of Scorpion and Frog that is referenced to at one point in the film. The film is a treat to the eyes, one reason being Newton Thomas Siegel's cinematography, which captures bird's eye view and skylines of Los Angeles so beautifully. But the more interesting reason is director Nicholas Winding Refn's color blindness. The reason why most of his films like Neon Demon, Drive, Only God Forgives, and Bronson are so vivid, colorful, yet dark is because Refn can only perceive contrast with his eyes, which unintentionally makes the colors in the film pop out of the screen. Bryan Cranston steals the show with his portrayal of Shannon, the garage owner who plays the employer come mentor come friend to Ryan Gosling. His dialogue delivery is sharp, and he lets his face do even more talking than his mouth does. Ron Perlman is a menacing antagonist, but I personally feel it's Albert Brooks who takes the cake with his cold-blooded blood is business demand. Carey Mulligan's presence is sweet and poignant as it should be, and you can't help but pity Oscar Isaac and Christina Hendricks' character, which I'm sure is what they intended to happen. All said and done, it's Ryan Gosling who keeps you on the edge of your seat. With least dialogues in the film as compared to his screen time, you realize that his poker face throughout the film is not his lack of acting skills but the need of the role. Impeccable acting. All in all, Drive is a film that'll get you hyped up on a dull monsoon afternoon, but make sure you get your bowl of ramen ready before the film has started. Also, shout out to Kavinsky for his beautiful OST in the film. So, how'd you like my review? Let me know in the comment section below and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Cinemama will see you again shortly, but don't go yet. Here's my most favorite scene from the film for you.
Is he bad guy?
Yeah,
How can you tell?
because he's a shark.
There's no good sharks?
No. I mean, just look at him.